Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 2 4 key game picks. A lot went on in week number 1. I don't have a lot of time to get through everything, so I can only have this very quick thoughts on week number 1. Obviously, this probably was the craziest week, probably the craziest opening weekend of the NFL probably we've seen in years. Now, I can only say for a couple things here. Obviously, the defending Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos got off to a good start, going 1-0 over the Carolina Panthers, narrowly escaping a game-winning field goal. But Denver's QB Trevor Siemian, not bad, going 18 for 26, 178 yards and a touchdown. So Denver, well, like I said, it's too early to tell whether Siemian can keep the Broncos offense going. But other things that happened in week number 1, hey, the Raiders! I can't believe it. Going gutsy. Jack Del Rio went gutsy, going for 2 points, beating the Saints. Well, look, it's early to tell whether the Raiders are going to be a big-time contender, but I'm not going to be surprised if they end up being somewhat of a playoff contender going into the end of the season. But, hey, give them credit. The Patriots, not bad. Narrowly escaping as the Cardinals missed the game-winning field goal. Jimmy Garoppolo went very well, 24 of 33 with 264 yards of passing and a touchdown. So, yeah, for the rest of the AFC East, I'm sorry to say that by the time Tom Brady gets back, the Patriots are going to be 4-0. Their schedule looks good the rest of the way. As soon as Brady comes back, they will be undefeated by the time he's at quarterback. Other thoughts from week number 1. A lot of games came down to the wires, all by 1 point. A lot of them only came down by just 1 point. And one of those games, Giants and Cowboys. Williams, get out of bounds. I can't explain how that happened. The Cowboys did not manage to clock well in that game. The Giants ended up winning, and rightfully so. I mean, but then again, but give Dak Prescott a lot of credit. He went 25 or 45, 227 yards of rushing, even though they didn't win. But give the Cowboys a ton of credit. They hung in there, but the Cowboys defense just couldn't stop Eli Manning and the offense. So, well, it's going to be tough to see where the Cowboys go from here right now. How about the Monday night snoozer? The LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. Even though the Niners blew them out, probably the worst Monday night game I've seen in years. I mean, both teams did not play very well, even though San Francisco won big. And of course, the Aaron Donald made it worse for the Rams as he nearly choked out a player, grabbing him by the neck. But, wow, that was a pure embarrassment and all that. Other notes from week number 1, as we're talking about quarterbacks here, as the Eagles, Carson Wentz, not bad, 22 of 37, 278 yards and 2 TDs. How about Sean Hill, the Vikings, 18 of 33, 236 yards. And, of course, Brock Osweiler going from Denver to Houston. He went 22 of 35 with 231 yards of passing and also 2 touchdowns. So it was a pretty good week for new quarterbacks based on new teams and all. But in terms of all that, I can't get into more on week number 1. Let's just go straight into week number 2. All right, here we go. Key game pick number 1. It is the Chiefs at the Texans. The Texans are a 2.5-point favorite in this one. And I didn't mention during the recap and all that, yes, KC was lucky to come back in the game against the Chargers. Well, I would say the Chargers kind of screwed themselves. I mean, well, it was a big blow when you lost Keenan Allen, and then the defense just couldn't stop the momentum that the Chiefs had in the second half of that game, and they ended up losing in overtime. Despite, nonetheless, though, the Chiefs are still quite an underdog in this game, because let's keep in mind, the Chiefs in the first half of that game didn't play well. But Houston against the Bears, it wasn't all that. They didn't play all that impressive either. Even though Brock Osweiler was able to put up 231 yards of passing in that win, that was because the Bears didn't play all that well, and they're not that good of a team. So I expect a close game from this one here, and this game is pretty big for for both. I wouldn't say it's big for both teams, but probably more or less for the Chiefs because they know that Denver will be on them as well as the Raiders. So it's important for the Chiefs to at least start out 2-0 here. And I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one. I think that what happened last week, I think finally woke them up in the second half against the Chargers, and it'll definitely be a factor against Houston. Now, Houston really, I mean, they weren't that impressive against the Bears, and I think that could come back to hurt them in this game here if KC can really get their offense going here. Now, KC's defense didn't show up in the first half against San Diego, but they did in the second half. So if I have to look at it, it's going to be a very close game in this one, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one. You'll expect a very close game in that one. Chiefs over the Texans. Key game number 2, a big one in the AFC North. The Bengals at the Steelers. Steelers looked very impressive in their win against the Redskins. They are a 3.5-point favorite in this one. Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown, they did, as I said last week, they had a field day with the Washington defense, and they did. They really put up big numbers in that game. And the Bengals, they did not look impressive at all against the Jets. And that could be troubling there. You losing key players in the offseason, but yet you still managed to escape the Meadowlands with the victory over the Jets. So this puts in mind right now for the Cincinnati Bengals, they need to really show up in this game, really. And this is why I'm going to go with the Steelers in this one. The Steelers look more impressive. They look more healthier. And I think, to me, as I was saying, the Bengals really did not look that good at all against the Jets. So keep in mind, their offense really struggled in that game, the entire game. But against a good Pittsburgh team, I think it's going to be just an even bigger struggle for them. And this is why I like the Steelers in this one. I think the Steelers' offensive power, offensive weaponry is just going to be too much for the Bengals defense to handle. I like the Steelers in this one. Steelers over the Bengals. Key game number 3, a very, very big game here. Going back to the NFC East, the Cowboys at the Redskins. Redskins are actually a 3-point favorite in this one. Probably maybe a little bit lower by the end of the week. As I mentioned about the Pittsburgh and Washington game, Kirk Cousins really was not that impressive. I think he was intercepted twice in that game. Their offense really struggled here. Even though, yeah, they are a favorite in this game. But really right now, I would think that the odds makers maybe put it a little bit too high for the Redskins. Because Dallas really kept up with the Giants last week. And Prescott really did a fantastic job of holding that offense together. So this is a game I expect to be close here. No question. I can see this game. And this is very big right now. You don't want to fall behind in the division 0-2 for either of these teams, especially with the Giants winning. So who has the edge in this game? I would say the Cowboys do. I think I'm going to slightly go to the Cowboys in this one. It's going to be a very, very close game here, probably low scoring. Both teams' offense did not look impressive at all. And that is why, but I think Dallas may have the edge a little bit here, but they need to clean up their clock management in this game because really that should have been no excuse when they should have got out of bounds and tried a game-winning field goal. But then again, that field goal was kind of like not a sure kick for them. So either way, they need to do a better job of cleaning up the clock management. So this is why I'm going to slightly go with the Cowboys here, even though Washington is kind of a favorite in this game. So Cowboys over the Redskins. And finally, key game number 4, the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. The Packers are only a 2-point favorite in this one. And I have to agree. They didn't look all that impressive against the Jaguars. I mean, I would have thought from watching this game, I didn't watch much of this game because I would have figured, oh, Green Bay's just going to blow out the Jags because Green Bay is healthy. They did not look impressive at all. Jaguars really kept up with them even though they only lost 27-23 by 4 points to the Packers. So something tells me that, I don't know, Green Bay's offense didn't look intact. They didn't look like they were connecting at all. But, excuse me. But yet they managed the victory. They managed to get out of Jacksonville with a win. And especially with Minnesota, even though they didn't play all that well in the first half against the Titans, their defense really kept up kept the pressure on the Titans in the second half, and that's what gave them the victory, even though their offense and Sean Hill, their quarterback, only got 18 of 33. Only went 18 of 33, and really it wasn't that much of an impressive win for the Vikings here. So expect a very close game in this one, but I like the Packers in this one. The Packers are a much more complete team, and they are healthy, but I think this is the game that I expect the Packers offense to be more intact than they were against Jacksonville. But don't count on Minnesota's defense. They are tough. They look tough, but I think the Packers will pretty much give Minnesota their first loss of the season here, and I expect Green Bay to probably go 2-0 in this game. I like the Packers in this one. Packers over the Vikings. Okay, that wraps up my picks for week number 2. Go to thesportblog.blogspot.com for all of my week 2 picks. And until then, I will see you all next week when I talk about my picks for week number 3. And until then, take care and enjoy your football weekend.